Hey, this is Rick Craft. What's up, YouTube? Today I'm doing a review of the Amaran Perfect LED video light. This is the AL-H160, and I picked this up for where's my cheat sheet here? I picked this up for 1,200 NT, so that's about $38 US. I believe you can find it on Amazon for around 36 or so, 51 Canadian pesos. So this is the light. Today I'm going to be doing a DIY because this light, as we're going to see in a moment, doesn't come with a DC adapter. So let's have a look what's inside the box first. I have to open it. Right. Tools that you'll need for this project. A sharp nail or a knife. Sharp nails do help. Oh, really? 3 times the charm. Okay. There we go. Carefully open that. Inside we have this protective enclosure. Comes with the light, like so. Ta-da! Okay. And you have a cold shoe to cold shoe mount here, which is dual adjustable. You have 2 of these here, so if you loosen those up, they can swivel like so. Okay. You also have a quarter inch mount. This one can actually fit into all 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, and 4 over here. And when you slide it in, you can actually bolt more units beside or on top. The manual says the maximum that you can do is 9. I don't know if I would need 9. This guy's actually pretty bright. I'm using one right now that I've actually completed this DIY already doing this. So I thought I'd show you my steps on going through it. A big shout out to Dimitris Vasia Georges. Please forgive me if my pronunciation is not that perfect, but it was his idea on YouTube. Very well done video, which inspired me to do this. Also inside the box, you get warranty stuff, a white filter, a yellow filter, and where you think that this filter may not come in handy is actually what I'm using right now. This white filter is a very kind of harsh light. This one is a nice soft light, so where I have room lighting here, I have a soft light with already modified Aputure Amaran AL-H160 already pointing at me using this filter, so this is a decent filter to use. Let me put this aside for now. What you're going to need is time. This project took me about 5 hours or so just to get everything together and, you know, find all the right bits and stuff. So let me save you a little bit of time, all right? These are always useful. Have around a utility knife. The power supply I picked up, the instructions said that this power supply takes between 5.5 volts to 9.5 volts. I picked up a 9 volt DC adapter. It also says it takes up to 1.5 amps. Wow, that's a bit of juice here. The closest I could find was 1.3 amps, not too bad. This one went for 290 NT, $9 US, 12 and a quarter Canadian for this. You need some hands. You need some helping hands. These are helping hands. Very useful for soldering because you have to keep the wire stable as you do the soldering. It's already tricky enough to do the soldering and apply the solder, and you got to hold it there. So yeah, you need extra help. So these are useful. I don't know if I would recommend this style because this base is really small and it's very easy to turn. So if you're doing precision work and you're trying to get in there and you bump it, then everything turns. I probably would have picked up a larger one with hands coming over the sides. That would have been better. I think those range around $30 to $40 US. This one here was just $570 US, 180 NT. 760 Canadian. So I have that. You need a soldering iron. This was really cheap, like $5 US. I already had it. Decided to dust it off and try it. So there you go. You'll need a work surface. I wouldn't recommend your table because the instructions for soldering says you need to flick off the soldering, and nice table, you don't want to get solder on it. So get some old scrap cardboard. This is a MSI. Some scrap cardboard. Wire strippers. A voltmeter, very important so that you can check the polarity and make sure that you hook it up correctly before you solder it, because once you solder it, yeah, you can remove it, but the less soldering you do, the better overall, better your life will be. All right. Drill, not plugged in right now, but okay. For this one I'm using, you can use there's the expanding drill bits. Yeah, you can use those too, I guess. I like to just drill a pilot hole. I'm using a number 4, Bosch number 4, and this one is a number 9 for my specific one. You should check and make sure that whatever you have fits your DC mount. Okay. Now this one has 3 prongs. I'll show it up in the camera close up later on when I go to focus on the table. It has 3 prongs at the bottom. And if you're thinking, well, it has negative, positive, it took me a minute as well. Why does it have 3 prongs? Okay, it's not a ground, because that's what I thought too. But what it is when you have a circuit, when you plug in the DC, it would interrupt the other power, like say from batteries, and then you'd be able to use it, you know, the DC coming in, okay? I'm not going to go that step because I'm not going to remove the soldering that's already nicely there, and I'm just not going to disturb it. I'll just leave it the way it is. You just have to remember to unplug the DC before you put in batteries. It's not a big deal, right? Okay, so I have this. I'll show it in close up a little bit later. It's very small. It only cost me like 30 NT or something, like $1. So there's that. I think this will be useful, especially if you want to do more than one light. I want 2 lights, and since I'm going to be using it a home video setup, I think this will be more useful for me. I can still buy batteries, or these Amaran lights actually take 6. If you open this up here, it's a little finicky, not too bad, but there we go. First try. All right, silica gel, do not eat. Okay. So it takes 6 AA batteries, or you can slide in a couple different batteries. The instruction manual says what batteries it accepts. So not only that, it has on and off, as well as an adjustable dimmer and a battery check meter, which we will be able to see later on. So that's good there. What else do you need? I bought a long, thin screwdriver like this. This one cost me 50 NT, about $1.60 US, or 210 Canadian. This one is because the corners here are very small and it's a little deeper, and if you have a larger bit, it's not going to fit in, so you might need one of these. 2 wires. I had wires lying around. Make sure that the ends are nice and clean. They shouldn't be tarnished or anything else, otherwise you have resistance problems, your wires will heat up, and you're going to have a bad day. So let's move this out of the way. Also, I'll talk about the length of the wires. For my specific unit, I put it around the outsides, and you had to kind of tuck it in so that the panel would sit flush. So because I did that, my negative wire, I'm using blue for this, is longer than my positive. This one measures at 14.5 inches or 37 centimeters. And my red one is shorter just because of the location of the mount. This one is just a hair under 10 inches or 26 centimeters. A small pair of pliers for just pulling and prodding the wires a little bit. This is useful. I picked up a solder stand, or solder stand. I'm sorry, solder. So the solder stand cost me also 50 NT, so $1.60 US or 210 Canadian. Electrical tape. You got to make sure that the stuff doesn't short out, and it shouldn't be touching any other connections. So yeah, this is pretty useful. Solder, 110 NT. 350 US or 465 Canadian. This one here is 1.0 millimeter diameter, and it's 100 grams. So just, you know, you could probably use a smaller or a larger amount. With a larger amount, it does get kind of heavy, and as you unspool this to feed into your solder like this, having a lighter one helps, or you could just remove a whole bunch and just hold it, like wrap it around your hand. I've seen that on YouTube. That works well too. Yeah, so I think that's about it. Let's go over to the workstation and let's get started. Here's the unit. We're going to start by taking the screwdriver here and removing the screws. Okay, finished. I got all the screws. Now, one thing that you're gonna note in the top here is that they have these little plastic pieces here. These are to keep the light filter on. Some of them will stay in. Only one of them did here, and some of them will fall out. So just be careful. They're a little easy to lose. I'm gonna put this to the side for now. This flange will come right out, carefully. And then 4 more screws. These ones are much easier to see, so I shouldn't have a lot of problem. This is where having the magnetic tip really pays off, because there's a big space on the either side here that the screws can fall down. So just be careful. Put them in a separate pile than the other screws. It's always a good idea. Fork here. This one really does not want to turn. Is it turning? I'll come back to that one. Okay, so I switched my screwdriver. Evidently the bit was just slightly too small and it was just spinning on top, which is why I was having the problems. Always good to have another screwdriver lying around anyways. And that's the last screw out, thank goodness. That was more painful than it needed to be. All right, so here you can see how the unit is wired. The LED panel's got a positive and negative connected to it. Up at the top we have a wiring here. For this unit, it would be nice to have the power at the bottom. I mean, that's kind of a typical power setup. However, the problem is the bottom here, when I turn it around, is this top part here, which has all these wires. And I really don't feel like drilling through that. So let's instead pick the top part, which will be easier. For this, I think what I will do is, this black wire is not very long. I will use a pen, carefully, to just prop this up, kind of like a car hood, I suppose. It's resting on the back of the LED panel. It's got all these solder marks. So I'm just going to very carefully trying to wedge it up against one of those and it'll hold, thankfully. Now I need to mark it out. I have a metallic marker. I love these things because they are really awesome at marking plastic here. And I'm going to mark it right about here. Right dead center. That should be alright. Hopefully you can see that on camera there. Alright, cool. Okay, next step will be to use my drill. Get this set in there nicely. And I have to very carefully drill through. So, let's do that very carefully. And this is going to be noisy, so I'll try and turn down the audio in the post here. Okay, that's the pilot hole done successfully. Do that in there. Another good idea for using a box like this, you could use a larger box, I suppose, but a nice thin box is good because it will protect your table. It's the easiest way to do this. So let's get this centered here. Very carefully. All right, that is through. I have to clean up the plastic bits here. What I'm going to do is try and remove some of this plastic inside so that the DC plug will sit a little bit better. On the back it's fairly smooth here. Just be kind of careful with that. Hold that like that. This is probably not the best way to use a blade, but yeah, gets the job done. There we go. Besides, I got more blades, so that's okay. All right, carefully. Okay. On this side, I gotta clear my workspace. Ugh, getting dirty here. That's much better. Okay, that seems to be all done. We're gonna do a test fit. I'm gonna bring in the camera here so you can see. This here is the actual thing I'm installing. It's got 3 pins like this, and one that you see connected to the bottom which is this one right here, is actually the pin inside, and it's the second one here, which is the DC negative in. Always test it with a voltmeter. For me, I'm actually going to do this right now, so I'll get out my helping hands here. I am going to plug in the 9 volt 1.3 amp. I'll make it easy to hold. I could just try and clamp it like this, but that's going to be difficult. So I'm going to clamp it like this and use the alligator. Maybe I need helping hands for my helping hands, evidently. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! Okay, so I put a box here to shade the multimeter so you can see. If I connect these terminals up, it reads 9 volts, which is good. Okay, so I know that this bottom one here is positive, and the side one here is negative, which I'm not going to touch right. So now, on to soldering. Okay, I just plugged in the soldering iron here, and as we wait for that to warm up, I'm going to show you why I have different lengths of blue and red cable here. So if I'm going to be installing this piece right here, okay, that's where I'm going to be installing it. And then it has to come around. Now, the red contact point is over here, so I can use a shorter cable as it's going to come around this way and go under here and to here. The blue is just going to barely fit here also. I'm going to loop both these cables over this way and kind of back around so it's not a tight bend coming this way. And also I have some room to play with when I'm soldering. Come down around here and all the way to the back for the blue or the negative. I could solder it on directly like this. However, the issue with this, of course, is that this is a little deep, so you have to be a little careful. Mine does fit. I'm going to solder it on sideways here, and that will give me more headroom, or avoid hitting the back of the panel, which is what I want. And I'd kind of like half of this to pass through the eye of the contact. You can tell me in the comments if this is the wrong way or not. I'm not too sure, but I'm just trying to go off what I think will secure on nicely there. And I'm going to feed this through the... Okay, and then I'm going to kind of bend these together a little bit. Twist them up like that. There we go. This is probably a little longer than what I would have wanted. But I'll clamp that down here so that stays where it's supposed to. Okay, that's on there nice. Maybe I can bend it back on itself. Those pliers I mentioned earlier are always useful. I'm going to just twist this. And crimp it there. That's better. It's really important to make sure, of course, that any strands are firmly out of the way of any problems. When you solder, the things that you want to do is you want to try and tin the tip first. So shouldn't say too much, and then knock it off. There we go. That's ready to go. Now, what I have to do is I have to heat this up. I am going to unplug the DC adapter, because that would be a safe, smart precaution at this point. And I have to heat up this area, so let's do that. And the idea is that you want to let the solder flow over the area. The solder sets really fast, actually, so you can have a look and see how... I could do a little bit more on the back here. I like to have a little insurance, so I'm going to do that. Rotate this a little bit here, and rotate this cable a little bit here too. There we go. Okay, quickly, let's go. Okay, that's got it. That's good. Okay, on to the negative. Next one here, same thing. I've already pre-twisted the wire here, so let's get that over here. Twisting it so it stays on the hook, and yeah, good. Lots of clearance around the contact. It doesn't look like there's a lot of clearance, but there is. So there we go. Okay. Next, time to solder this one. These helping hands do come with a magnifying glass. I've removed it because it's a little difficult to use. The angle never seems to be right for me. And also while I'm filming this video, by the way, if you don't know, it's my second time ever soldering in my life, so please be patient. Should always solder in a very well ventilated area. You heard me running the AC earlier just so I can get some air in here. Let's have a look at that. That looks very good from this side. I need to do a little bit on the back side. That's what she said. Just like that. Oh, keeps on moving a little bit. Try not to melt the plastic of the wire. That does not smell very good. There, that's better. All right. Yeah, okay, that looks pretty good. Now, as you can see, I've got them both coming off the side here. That's for a good reason, is that we have very little clearance inside the box. So I want them both coming off to the side. For safety, what I'm going to do is I am going to use a little electrical tape just to tape in between. Always a good idea. Just in case one of the wires comes loose, you don't want to fire or lose your light or something like that. I could have used a pair of scissors, I suppose. Try to wrap it around here carefully. I don't want to bend it too much. The solder is still kind of hot, so it does dry, or it does set very quickly. But I don't need to push on it too much right now. Yeah, that seems okay. And there we go. There we go. That's better. A second, we'll go in here. So I'm actually putting 2 pieces of tape in between the contacts just in case. The third one I'm not going to bother to do because it's not going to connect to anything, and that will be safe. From here, I'm going to disconnect this. We won't need this for now. These often come with an extra locking ring like this. It's just offset a little bit, so as you screw it down, it'll put on pressure. I would love to use it. Unfortunately, the pass-through for here is not very big at all. So, yeah, I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to use the actual nut to go into that. Get that in there. Okay. Good. Now, starting to come through here. Once you get it on, it's fine, but getting it on. If you're even lucky, it'll line up nicely so that the nut is free of the opening part here, which is good. Can I still open it? Yes, I can. That's great. And it even lined up flush with the outside, so I got lucky there. Okay, so we have one blue wire that is tucked in nicely and one red that is not. It's not too bad. All right. Do I have enough? Yes, I do. Good. Okay. I might actually have a little bit too much, so let's turn this around. This next part is a little tricky because these wires have to come through and stay flat and put them side by side like this. They will want to go everywhere, so I'm going to try and tape them down to keep them still there. And I'm going to do the blue wire first because the red is going to go over top of it to connect the red part there. If we do it to the side here, that'll be smart. The other thing you have to be careful of is this red wire here is going to come really close to this black contact point, which is not good for us. So we are going to force it out of the way a little bit, very carefully. So I basically shoved it down on top. I put a little UE in it so that will keep it on that point. I won't need to use my magic hands for this. My soldering iron is hot. We're doing the back of the AA battery compartment here, so you don't want to make this too hot. A little melting is going to happen. That's just part of life. We need more solder. Big
thing of solder on my iron here. It won't come off. There we go. Okay. I think I should be okay. Last time I had a little difficulty in getting this solder to connect. Oh, that's perfect. That's great. Okay, good. Whew. The main purpose of this video wasn't really this. I mean, yeah, it's nice to save money. It's always nice to save money. But I mean, for practicality, using a DC adapter is so much easier. You know, if you're doing a mobile thing, obviously you're going to have batteries that are going to be charging and you're going to have that covered. But why not make it easy if you're at home? You won't save any money on doing one, but I suppose if you're doing two, then you will save a bit of money. I'm going to use a helping hand. That would be smart. And hold it there. Oh. That's the position I want it to go in. So let's do it like that. I'm gonna stay on there. Perfect. All right. I'm gonna warm up this other previous solder here from the actual company. There we go. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. There we go, I covered that end a little bit better. Good. It looks like we are finished soldering. So, now we're gonna test it. What we're gonna do now, I did test it. I'm not too sure, it seems a little intermittent. Maybe just it was the position of the connector, but we'll try it and see here. I'll take these down first so that I have a more solid connection. There we go. These two screws have a little peg that they kind of go over, so you have to be careful. And let's try the AC adapter. Ah, I see, okay. So the position of the DC is the issue here. Okay, that's good. At least it's not internally. That's good to know. Whew, I can fix that later. Okay. So now, let's do it up. So this is the finished light here, and I got it working okay. It looks like the contacts on the DC connection were off just a little bit. If I turn it, it kind of goes off and on, so you'd probably need to wrap it to the pole or something like that. I'll put on the first filter here, and we'll see how that looks. And the light can go brighter or dimmer. Okay, and then as you can see, this gives a nice warm light. Goes up pretty bright. Now if I put this one up to the max, it'll actually turn off and start flashing. And that's because it's either drawing too much amps or there's too much power going through the circuit and it's overloading it. I'll show you in a minute. There's a big difference in the voltage between the use of this one and my other one that I have that has no issues. I can put it up to the max. I think this one puts out a little bit more lumens at the top end, which is why that's causing the problem. And you can see here that the voltages between the two, the first one here and the second one here, are reading differently. So yeah, so these units were purchased at the same time. I'm not sure if they were from the same batch or not, but your experience may vary. Obviously, this will void your warranty, so there's something to think about. These units are $35 US each. Not very bad for price. Yeah, so if you like this demo, hopefully I did an okay job with filming top down in the soldering part. But if you liked it, please leave a like. And if you hated it, then let me know. Leave a comment if you think I was out of my mind to try this. This is my second solder job, but I was trying my best here. So if I can do it, you guys can do it too. Anyway, thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye.